This is Andy again with Oliver's Bush Hogging. We're back with another new Gyro-Trac machine. It's now a GT365. This is the new version of the old GT35. Yeah, old GT35. They've done a lot of changes to this machine. I mean, it's a huge machine. So part of the things that they changed, first telltale sign is the trunnion here. The trunnion and on the 35 was roughly 15 inches apart from the top cylinder pin to the pivot point, and now you're looking 2.5 feet. Also, the trunnion pin itself is about 50% larger, so it takes much more abuse there. The trunnion size itself is about 50% bigger, so they've really upgraded their step. And the GT35 was a great machine, still is. But the 365, they made a lot of major changes to this. The lift cylinders are about 50% larger as well. Also, the pins itself that holds it in is not like the other ones. Something like this, I mean, you shouldn't have to worry about it wearing out, changing pins and bushings, things of that nature. We're gonna go around to the front. This is something, I don't know why no one has thought of this, but the side cover here. So they recess the side cover. So sometimes if you're mulching and you hit a stump, you'll flare that cover out, definitely if a bolt vibrates out. But this is actually a flush mount. So very good job to Gyro-Trac on that. I don't know why nobody thought of that before, including myself, but it's definitely a great invention that they came out with. Another big step of the 365, which is they're starting to do it to all their machines, is they now have a bolt-in liner. So no torch, no welder, quick, easy change. You can probably have it done in a couple hours. Great new invention. Also, another thing is the square push bars. So if you look at some of the older machines, the push bar was not so forgiving for newer operators. If you push a tree too hard, it's real easy to tweak it. The push bar here is square tubing, 1/4 inch, so it's a real solid, robust push bar. So that's something really good that Gyro-Trac has changed on. Coming back to the other side, they're still sticking with, which is they came out with this a few years ago now, where they just run hoses on one side. They did that change roughly 5-6 years ago. Used to, on the older machines, they had hoses going on both sides. You had issues where you could tear a line off. This one, they got one line, so less hoses that can get damaged, cheaper hoses, and also you can dedicate just cut and brush on one side of the machine. Going back to the other side, once again I have to hit on this trunnion deal. This is a big game changer for Gyro-Trac. I'm very proud of Gyro-Trac. Also, with that trunnion, if you look at the track mechanism, we don't have the crossbars like what we did on the older 25s and the 35s, like what you needed for the captive track. We don't have that anymore, so that is awesome. All the machines are pretty much set up the same way, so to speak. So in here you have your fuse panel. It has a pressurized cab, so all the fuses do not have any dust, can't get any moisture. There's a pressurized cab and it's sealed. So that's a great job that Gyro-Trac has done. We're going to go to the engine compartment, and this is something that's insane that Gyro-Trac's done as well. On the GT35s and the GT25s, they had a door that went up, as you can see. Now they have barn doors here. It's great, it's awesome. You don't have to worry about anything rattling. Everything's nice and open. You still have your Dept tank back here, this is a stage 5 engine. A lot of people start getting scared whenever it goes to Dept tanks. This is powered by Cummins. Cummins does phenomenal research on their engines, but this is actually a stage 5. So stage 5 does things a little bit different. They do not have a recirculation system. So phenomenal job. I'm glad Gyro-Trac was able to go from tier 3 straight to stage 5. That's why we're able to get the 365 horsepower. That's why this machine is called 365, is this 365 horse. There's no other machine out there like it. On the back, they upgraded and went to a 30,000 pound winch, so that's something that's amazing. There for years we would see a 15,000 pound winch. We now upgrade it to a 30,000, so that is amazing. And if you look up beneath, you still have your belly pans just like it was on the other machines. So So that's awesome too. You have 2 different filters, so that's perfect. One for your rotor head, the other one for your PVG 32, which is raises and lowers your cutter head. You know, you have all your engine starter. Everything's easy to access. Also, if you look, before I raise the cab up, look at the pumps. The pumps sit about 8 inches higher, 8 to 10 inches higher than the GT35. And that's awesome whenever you're in there trying to work, change hoses, change pumps, whatever you need to do, everything's up higher. So everything's better when it's higher. So anyways, now I'm gonna raise the cab. This cab is just like the GT16. It's a bi-directional pressure cab. So it requires pressure coming up and it requires pressure going down. So that's amazing because in the southeast where it's real flat, a lot of people like to just lower the cab without putting a bolt in there for easy access. And if they drive in a ditch or something, that cab would always bounce around or whatnot. And now you don't have that issue anymore because there's pressure on both sides. So that's awesome for that. You have a step here so you can check your coolant. You got your coolant sight glass right there, so there's no need to climb on top of the machine. You can actually physically see it right there. Look at the air filter that they changed. So the GT35 had a very large filter, which this has as well, but the filter was expensive, really expensive, and you could only get it from Cummins. And this filter right here, it's a huge filter. It's like the GT25, which is those filters were phenomenal. They'll last a year, year and a half. This one we're seeing about the same thing out of. And the best thing is you don't have to go to Cummins for it. I mean, you can pick this filter up from CarQuest quick. One thing that I kind of skipped, we're going to go back to the back here, which is the same thing as the GT16. Your condenser for your AC is in the back, which is, you have these safeties here. Please use them because you can easily rip off these AC lines in the back. You know, we're on a nice little angle here, so that's something that door would slap back on. So anyways, you just pop this cover off right here. If you open this door up a little bit more, you'll be able to raise it up and clean it all out, which is, once again, it's getting fresh air. So that's something that's good and very vital for AC. This cab is the same cab as the GT16. It's nice, wide open. You got nice, good visibility. You do have a windshield guard there, or a windshield wiper guard there. So that's awesome. Is whenever you're walking through brush with the machine, that's what you want to get kept protected. It does have an emergency hatch, so this is something that Gyro-Trac has implemented the past couple years, but they continued with the 3-digit models here, so that's amazing. Of course, here you have your touchscreen display. Your pressurized cab is in here, fast idle. Also, you can go in here and you can play with your hydraulic pressures. You can see what your hydraulic pressures are. This one's 0 right now, of course, because the machine's off. You can also check codes. So this machine doesn't have any engine codes. It doesn't do just Gyro-Trac codes. It does all Cummins codes as well. So that's amazing. That's one of the things that Cummins and Gyro-Trac has together, where they communicate with each other. There's not a lot of manufacturers that does that. Also, you have your machine fault here, which is on the Gyro-Trac side. From there, you can look at your screen setup, when you want your reversible fan to come on, track pressures, rotor PSI. There's a lot of stuff you can play in here with this display. One of the things also that Gyro-Trac has started doing is in this gray box here, if for some reason you have an issue, they have all the caps and plugs to isolate the rotor head from the pump. And that's amazing. I mean, just itself, this is probably $500–600 worth of stuff. And the biggest thing is whenever you're out in the middle of the woods, you're trying to figure out what's going on. Gyro-Trac has you covered because they have this box here, and also, Nexus. Let's not forget about Nexus. They can see everything that's going on with this machine anywhere. So, there's actually a guy that was in Texas that had an issue with a joystick. A joystick wasn't working, and he called up to Gyro-Trac, and Gyro-Trac went live on his machine and found out that there was a 5-amp fuse that was blown. That's insane that they can go down to what fuse is blown. Went to F number 5. That was the fuse that was blown. They changed out the fuse, and he was back in business. So that's pretty amazing. All right, now we're gonna go.
There you go. safe out of the way, so very good access to clean. And a very large radiator. I like these new handles. You just turn them and clamp. That's pretty cool.